Crystal blessings. Hibiscus Moon here with Hibiscus Moon Crystal Academy. I love growing crystals. Before Heisenberg was even a glimmer in AMC's little eye. Although I love, guys, I love that show and I'm so sad it's over. All right, this is fun. It's something I used to do in my science class. Kids love to do it, adults love to do it. Growing crystals is fun. Today I'm going to show you how to make your own eggshell geodes. What are you going to need? Let's see. I hope I remember everything. If not, I will list it right over here. All right, you're going to need some eggshells, so don't throw out your next eggshells that you use for scrambled eggs or recipes or whatever it is. Just clean them out a little bit, and get any of the gunk out. You're going to need some boiling water. You will need some glue, school glue, regular kind of glue. You will need a container. It doesn't have to be a science beaker, but we are going to get geeky today, so I had to break that out. And you're going to need some alum. This is a particular brand I like because they sell it in a large amount. You can also find it in the grocery aisle. It's used for pickling, and which is why you'd find it in usually the spice aisle of the grocery store. But a lot of times it's that little tiny bottle, and I like to have a lot because I do a lot of crystal growing projects. So I'll put a link to where you can get this online below. As you can see, I have a few bottles of it that I always keep on hand. And these are alum crystals. It's the same type. If you use that crystal deodorant, it's an alum crystal. That's what that is. And a paintbrush for brushing. So I'm going to bring you in a little bit closer so you can see what we're going to do with the different parts. What we're going to end up with is a beautiful sparkly geode that is deeply colored on the outside and lightly colored on the inside and absolutely gorgeous. And you get to decide how big you want the crystals to grow. So this is a whole lot of fun, and it will teach anybody who's involved in it all about the crystal growing process. So it's really educational too. All right, let's get going here. Let's get started. Okay, so the first thing you're going to do is you're going to take some glue, put a drop in your eggshell, and use a paintbrush to get the glue all over the inside of the eggshell, painting it all the way up to the edges, every spot of the interior of that eggshell. And if you need more than a drop, then put a couple more in there and just make sure you get the whole inside all painted up with glue. Then while the eggshell is still wet with glue, take your alum powder and sprinkle it right over the eggshell, making sure that every spot in the interior has alum all over it. Sprinkle it on generously, shake the excess off on a paper towel or something, catch it, pour it back in, and just make sure that it gets a lot on there. Okay, and that's going to basically be your base, or what we call the seed crystal, because every crystal starts with a seed crystal. And don't ask me where the first seed crystal came from, because that's like the chicken or the egg question. Okay, that is hot steaming water that is starting to cool off, and I'm going to add some food coloring to it. I'm gonna try to do a purple. 30 to 40 drops. You don't want the water to boil, so I'm not going to let you sit here and watch that. That's 3. So we're making a super saturated solution here with the alum. Okay, so let me explain to you what I'm doing now. I went ahead and heated my water almost to boiling, but not quite. And I've already started saturating or adding some of the alum powder to the water. And I just wanted to stop for a second and take a moment to put a little caution in here. Just because the alum powder may be sold in your spice aisle, it is not something you want to eat. You do want to be cautious, especially if you're going to be doing this with kids. This is not something we want to smell or eat. Definitely wash your hands and utensils when you're finished with it. We just want to be overly cautious with this sort of thing and supervise, supervise, supervise. Even some adults need to be supervised. Class has started. What I'm doing here is I am creating a super saturated solution. So a saturated solution is where the solvent, in this case the alum powder, is being added to the water, or whatever it is you're using to dissolve the solvent. It has reached maximum capacity, meaning it can't take any more in. That would be a saturated solution. To grow crystals, we actually want to have a super saturated solution, meaning we've gone beyond the point of maximum capacity. It actually is going to start settling at the bottom. And I actually have another video where I will probably put it right here through the magic of video editing. It's an old video that I did a long time ago where I was, totally geeking out on growing crystals and explaining more on supersaturated solutions. So we want to just keep adding the alum here until the water simply will not dissolve anymore, and you'll see like a little pile of the powder, the alum powder, settling at the bottom, and no matter how much you stir, it won't dissolve. That's why we want the water to be warm, very, very warm, hot, because that's how you get it to dissolve more of the solvent. Okay, so I'm going to continue doing that, geeking out and talking to myself in more scientific terms because I just love doing that so much, and I'm sure you're probably sick of it at this point. Okay, so see you on the other side. Okay, I still have a pile at the bottom, and that's probably all that this solution will take. I'm going to stop there. You want that to go ahead and cool for about 30 minutes. So we'll go ahead and do that because we don't want it to be red hot. Here's where we get to put the egg into the solution, and you can put 2 or 3 or however many fit in your container or beaker. And by the way, my beaker is a different size than the measurements that I gave you. I adjusted for the sizes that I had with my measurements. Just use the measurements that I gave you, it'll be the easiest thing. I'm going to take my eggshell and plop it in and try to make sure it stays upright, and then you can use a spoon or a glass stirrer if you have lab supplies like me, and just make sure it goes all the way to the bottom, and that's it. So now it's in its super saturated solution, and now we need to play the waiting game again. 12 hours minimum. You can do it 24 hours overnight if you can stand it. Okay, so it's been about 15 hours, and I'm going to go ahead and take them out, and a spoon works best for taking these out. They're nested one inside the other. Wow, and they came out really nicely crystallized. They're really dark, bluish, purplish, but it came out really nice. So there you have it. Go ahead and have fun doing your crystal geodes. Okay, namaste.